Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta in Hyderabad, and my guest this week is the most inspirational human being. Mark Inglis, welcome to Walk the Talk.
Thank you.
Most inspirational in many ways.
Oh, it's about opportunity, Shekhar. It's about opportunity.
Is it about opportunity or about adversity?
Well, opportunity comes out of adversity. You know, it's adversity creates the space that you can find opportunity in, or at least that's what I believe.
Because not many know about you in this country. I think now a lot more will. You are the first double amputee to climb the Everest.
And still the only double amputee.
And still the only double amputee. And you say that with a smile on your face.
Oh, yeah. It was a huge experience. But, you know, I've been a mountaineer my whole life. And so for me, Everest, well, a natural thing to do, yeah.
And you lost your legs also while climbing.
Yes, I'm a slow learner. It's a very slow
No,
learner.
you were an expert, you were a rescue mountaineer.
Yes, I was a search and rescue mountaineer from a very young age, and I got trapped on top of a mountain in New Zealand, Mount Cook, in an ice cave for 13 and a half days, so very severe frostbite. So at age 23, I had both legs amputated just below the knee.
And did you think life had ended by at least with that, at least climbing life?
No, I think one of the best possible person to lose their legs at the age of 23 is a young mountaineer, because I'd spent my life putting myself in positions and that might kill me.
Right.
And what you've got here is
We even
another challenge.
arranged a rock in Hyderabad.
Hyderabad has the most beautiful rock.
Right.
I drive around Hyderabad and I look around going,
Right.
we should stop and climb that.
Right.
You know, it's look at that.
Beautiful rock. This is the plateau of Deccan.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a climber's paradise. So you said the best person to lose his legs at 23 is a mountaineer. Elaborate that.
Well, it's all about mountaineers always putting themselves in positions of great challenge. And so all I saw was a new challenge, you know, a new opportunity. It was the thinking that I may be able to ski for New Zealand at the Paralympics, you know, because I was never good enough a skier when I had legs, but you never know, you know. So it's about trying to find where the opportunity is there, yeah.
And then came the legs.
Then came the legs. You know, we're very lucky in New Zealand. We have a government-funded prosthetics. They're not the best prosthetics in the world, but they're okay. And the one thing you learn is that you don't need the best in the world. You just need to use them.
You've been researching on them also and developing them?
Yes, I've had to make all of my own climbing legs, ice climbing legs, skiing legs, cycling legs. And so because I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Right.
Okay, and so not many people make climbing legs for double amputee. No one, in fact. No one was making a cycling leg. And
Nobody
so,
expects a double amputee to climb very serious places.
No, why not?
But
You know,
nobody did
Yeah.
until you changed it.
Hopefully I have changed it. You know, that's the one thing that I hate the word passion, but I'm passionate about people seeing not a disability, but just a different ability. You know, it's seeing a way out of it, not the way that someone's buried in it.
And that is not just a euphemism or a nicer way of describing an awful situation somebody might be in.
No, it's and every culture, every environment, you know, there are challenges. I think there are about 400 million truly disabled in the world.
Yes.
And they're truly disabled because they don't have access to prosthetics or to wheelchairs or to treatment. But one of the biggest things that disables people is the thinking of everyone, of the community, of the people themselves. And so the more we can free up people's thinking, then when we give them a leg, they'll use it.
And that's why when you're climbing now, you're also raising money to help people in Tibet who might need artificial limbs.
Have raised a lot of money for people in Tibet. One of our main projects is for people in Nepal And in fact, since the tragic earthquake last year, we've raised almost $40,000 for that will go to help newly disabled youth in Nepal.
Mark, take us back to, I know you've told this story to the whole world many, many times over, but I think a lot of people in India need to hear this. 13 and a half days stuck in an icy cave at God knows what temperature with just one mate. How do you survive? Time is your biggest enemy because you have to pass time and not do anything stupid.
Time is your biggest enemy, but it's also your greatest advantage because it gives you time to think.
Right.
And so one of the hardest things is when you're in a storm, the wind is battering you around and you stop thinking properly. But as soon as you crawl into an ice cave, you're out of the wind and it becomes almost silent and you can engage your brain. And that's when time actually becomes your friend because you can think through every decision. And that's what it was. You know, we were 324 hours in that ice cave, Philip and I. And every decision that we made in that time, we thought through, we discussed, we argued, we ensured that we were making the best possible decision.
Did you fight?
Oh, we
Did
had
you
a bit.
argue?
We had a wee bit. It's but I think that's a sign of a really healthy relationship.
But did one tell the other, you got us into this?
No, you see, because so much of mountaineering is true teamwork, and as soon as you, when you have true teamwork, you both have
Because you are on
ownership.
one rope anyway.
You're on one rope, and you have ownership. You know, one person might be not so good at doing one thing, the other person might not be so good at another task, and so it is true teamwork. And so there can never be any
And when
blame.
did you know you were sure that help was now coming? Did you have communication?
We had some limited communication in that we had what would be a wee transistor radio. Not a two-way radio, but a wee transistor radio. And because the people knew me so well, because I was a search and rescue mountaineer, they were able to send coded messages across the radio from a commercial radio station. And so the night before we were rescued, we had a message saying, you know, tomorrow's the day, boys, tomorrow's the day. And it was lucky because we didn't have much life left.
And that tomorrow did come.
That tomorrow came, and it was very lucky. There was only a 2-hour window
Right.
of calm weather for a helicopter to come in and pluck us off the summit.
Right.
And then the weather went bad for 19 days. And so, yeah.
And you were conscious when that happened?
Yes.
Conscious. But did you have a realization of how much injury you had suffered?
Well, I mean, I'm a paramedic by training as well, so I knew that I had frostbite in my feet. I knew that I would lose toes, but it wasn't until probably 2 weeks in hospital that we realised that we were going to lose much more than just toes, you know. So we were going to lose feet, yeah. But as you can see here in Hyderabad, you know, I like my water frozen. And so I'm normally live in a place that's 50 degrees cooler than here, yeah.
So what's this about New Zealanders and mountains?
Oh, they're on our back doorstep. We have Sir Edmund Hillary as an icon, but we have a long, long tradition of mountaineers in New Zealand. And it really is. It's so accessible, you know. The mountains are there. People are out climbing in them, shooting, hunting, trekking, and it's, yeah.
And then finally the Everest.
Everest, yeah.
Tell us that story a little bit.
Well, Everest was always a dream, one that I thought I'd lost for a while, but I came to understand after I'd climbed Mount Cook in New Zealand again, as the first double amputee, that Everest was achievable. I went from Tibet, not from Nepal. I went from the north purely because of that ice fall that has killed so many people in the last few years. And so from Tibet, the challenge up there is it's very steep rock. And above 8,000 metres, you have to sign a contract with yourself in your own mind that if you cannot walk, you will not be rescued.
Right.
You know, that's why the bodies are still apparent all the way on the north side. On the south side, there's big, long snowfields where people's bodies can be retrieved from. On the north, it's not.
Even the injured can't be retrieved.
Exactly.
And that's where that infamous controversy that is
Yeah.
dog due comes in. As when you were climbing up, there was a British climber who was very sick. And
It was
there's
about 12:30 at night, and we were going past that rock where the Indian climber, his body has been there since 1996.
right.
And we looked in there and we saw someone at the last stages of his life. We didn't know who he was. It turned out that he was a solo climber. We looked in and yelled at him to get up, get going, get down, but he was too far gone. And the trouble was that on our day it was minus 50 degrees Celsius. And so you cannot stop. Our stronger Sherpa tried to move him and couldn't move him. And so we did the only thing we could, and that was to keep moving. And so we could turn around and go back down, but to what effect?
No avail.
To no avail. And so we carried on up, and yeah, it has dogged us, but the one thing that you need to understand is that we did the one thing that we could do for him, and that is when it warmed up in the morning, we waited with him until he passed away. And that's one of the most difficult things, to sit with someone, see them die in front of your eyes, and know that you can't do anything to help them.
So the criticism you faced was undeserved, even from Sir Edmund Hillary, if I may add.
Yeah, Sir Edmund had congratulated me on my climb in glowing terms. And then, as is wont, a journalist said to Sir Edmund Hillary, but Mark left one of his team members for dead, which was patently untrue. And he's just said, he said, that's terrible. And
And that became the headline.
that became the headline.